There are certain things we as humans, certain things we react to. Like you mentioned, if you have colors, there's some colors that a human being sees, and psychologically your brain tells you that, okay, make this association with this color. For example, we know with the color red, it brings up the feeling of excitement.
Yeah.
You get it? So just the same way we have those things with colors, when you bring it to font, as a business owner, when you are crafting your brand, there are a lot of things that you can do on your own before actually getting to meet with your designer.
All right. Hello and welcome to another episode on the Brand Talk. And on this session, we're going to be discussing font psychology with Jaafar. We know him on Instagram as J Creatives. Now, before I introduce him, I'd like you to know this is one amazing brand identity designer. His name is Jaafar Jemilu Muhammad. And we like his brand name is J Creative. So we're gonna leave the link to his portfolio so that you can visit and see the amazing work he do. Now, he's not just a brand identity designer, he's a design educator and developer. And he happens to run an academy called the Mastermind Academy. All right, let's start with talking about the Mastermind Academy. Why the Mastermind Academy like? What is the academy all about?
Yeah, the Mastermind Academy was kind of like set up due to my own experience coming into design.
Okay.
Because like I do tell some of my, because I do, under the academy, I train in a lot of aspects that are related to design. So in my biology design classes, I always like, when I'm telling them the story, it's like, when I came to design, it took me a long while due to, if you are a self-taught designer, you have to make some stumbles, you don't know the right aspect to go through. So all those things, I kind of put it up there, okay, we have a lot of people that come into design now in the Nigerian design industry, yeah, and we see people that are putting out subpar designs that are not really up to what we call design. You get? So I felt, why not create a platform whereby we know now due to the whole COVID situation, it is still virtual, but the main goal was to create a platform whereby I will get design enthusiasts, people that really have that passion for designing, but they want to learn design the right way and might not have that opportunity to learn the right way. So the Mastermind Academy is like the bridge between your interest in design and you having the design knowledge. So we'll get to put you through the right way you learn design, things that you should look out for, things you should do, and all that. So that's what is a platform that helps designers to grow, to go from level 0 to achieving their aim of being good designers and world-class designers.
Okay, now it's interesting what you just said and I find it interesting because I love the fact that the Mastermind Academy, it's about bridging the gap. Just like you said, most designers, like 80% of designers, graphic designer, whatever, are self-taught, especially in Nigeria. I don't know how many tertiary institutions in Nigeria offer design or graphic design as a course. I'm self-taught, or I started by teaching myself. And just like you said, I made a lot of mistakes, tons. I stumbled a lot. The very fact I'm here today is just that I refuse to give up, because I've made terrible mistakes, and okay, I know if I had like a proper understanding, a proper education on what this design journey is all about, I would have avoided those pitfalls. But institutions like the Mastermind Academy is what helped me, because along the line you get to meet institutions or communities like the Mastermind Academy. Now, and I would, if you're listening, and I think you should check it out. So right now, is the academy like on what platform does the academy operate like? Where can we find the Mastermind Academy?
Yeah, right now we have an Instagram account that's at TMMACAD. So currently, when you sign up for classes, classes hold via Zoom. So for now, it's on a one-on-one basis. So once you've shown your interest, you've made your commitment, quite all right, we know that you always have to make some financial commitment to learning something. So once you've made your commitment, we create a schedule for you, and the classes hold on Zoom. We hold on Zoom. We always tend to have like a target. So most of the time, we start with a month. So within a month, we look at how well we get to build you. So we now, at the end of the month, we now take stock that, okay, from day one, this is where you were. This is day 30 or 31, depending on how long the month is. We now look at it. How well have you improved? Are we doing the right thing? So that is now, it's a platform whereby, based on the fact that we can't meet interpersonally, we tend to try to give you the best via Zoom calls and everything. So it's a mixture of theory and practicals. So everything we do it like it will be done in the natural, normal physical meeting, but just with that gap of having it on virtual.
Well, especially with the whole COVID situation and the fact that it's virtual, I think it's more. It's more better being virtual because you can actually reach anyone anywhere, whether you're from Nigeria or outside Nigeria. You can be part of it, and it's a one-on-one session. I think people should like being one-on-one session is fantastic. So I think you have structured it in a way that works for you because I know people mostly love one-on-one sessions. Well, guys, that is it about the Mastermind Academy. I believe it's an academy you should check out, especially if you're starting out as a designer and want to avoid. There are certain pitfalls that are avoidable that you want to avoid it. Well, if you don't want to avoid it, you can experience it. Now, you learn two ways. You either learn by you either learn by your own experience or you learn by another person's experience. I rather learn by another person's experience than learn from my own experience. That is talking from experience. Now, let's go to the discussion of the day. Fonts, typefaces, whatever you want to call it. Like, now, I'm not talking about, because here at Brand Talk, we don't just limit it to designers. It's an entrepreneur home, like for entrepreneurs. It's a community for entrepreneurs. And a lot of business owners make this mistake, like when it comes to fonts, design, colors. Well, I'll leave it to my graphic designer. He's the one, like, what do I know? I don't want to bother myself knowing about this information. But fonts play a vital role in design. Fonts play a vital role in the way we tell our stories as businesses. They play a vital role in how we communicate, how people see us. But I'm not sure a lot of business owners, especially in Nigeria, really understand this. And I'm talking about mostly startups or small businesses. I'm not sure they understand it. And that's why they tend to leave these things to graphic designers or brand identity designers. So it's their job. I don't have to bother myself. But how important is font when it comes to business or business stories?
So, all right. Okay, we'll see when we get to the slide I want to share, but let me just give like a summary of how it's important in business.
Okay.
So you see, like there are certain things we as humans, certain things we react to. Like you mentioned, if you have colors, there's some colors that a human being sees, and psychologically your brain tells you that, okay, make this association with this color. For example, we know with the color red, it brings up the feeling of excitement.
Yeah.
You get it? So just the same way we have those things with colors, when you bring it to fonts, as a business owner, when you are crafting your brand, there are a lot of things that you can do on your own before actually getting to meet with your designer. Because we'll get to the point where we'll talk about how to use for psychology, but basically from the scratch, you need to first understand your business, understand your audience, understand your competitors. Those three key factors will help you determine how best to describe your business. And it's that description that would also lead to the type of font or the type of color that you would use or that your designer will use. So you can see that even as a business owner, you have your own, you have a role to play. That's why we, as you mentioned, a lot of business owners just leave it for the designer. Say, okay, it's your job, go and do that. And they always make that mistake of not giving the designer a complete information about themselves. You as a business owner, you know your business. You know who you are, who you brought about your business for. You know who you are competing against, except if you are in an industry that you created yourself. There is no industry that doesn't have competitors. So you need to understand those. Then when you now see it, okay, let's say, for example, you are into luxury items. Your target audience are high-earning people, and you have competitors in the same field of luxury. With that in mind, you can then tell your designer that, okay, my brand is into luxury. All we do are shaped around luxury. The way we talk, the way we interact with our clients, the kind of clients that we have, they are all shaped around luxury. So then the designer will now know that, okay, whatever I'm doing, at the back of my mind, I must have luxury there. So am I choosing the color? Am I choosing the font? Am I using shapes? Am I using image? All those things must be reflective of luxury. So in font psychology, when we talk about fonts, we talk about serif, sans serif, and the likes. With font psychology, you now look at it that, okay, I'm into luxury. What font best evokes that feeling, that whereby when my audience see my brand, they'll be like, yes, this is the brand I want to associate with, because they offer luxury and all about luxury. So you need to look out for those adjectives, or you can say maybe you want your brand to be looked at as a modern brand, as a forward-thinking brand. All these things are adjectives that you yourself as a business owner, you can actually think about before going to lay down in front of your designer.
Wow.
And this is where we always have this issue of designers doing 4, 5, 6, 7 options of identities, be it using logo or icons, because they've not been given that understanding that the client is meant to have about their business. They just leave them to go into it and say, just determine what we are about. And in terms of psychology, you as a business owner can actually sit down and think that, okay, when people see me, what should they associate me with? You get, if you don't relay that information to your designer will assume based on whatever you give them. And you might get to see that sometimes some clients don't really fill out creative briefs. They don't go the extent of making sure that they are giving the designer a complete breakdown of their business or what they are. So that's why you now see designers are just assuming that, okay, they are into agriculture. Let's just use green. Let's just use these fonts. But there are some things there are some brands that might be into agriculture and they might be using blue, they might be using brown. That's because those colors actually match the adjectives that describe that brand. Or you might see people, a brand that might need to use the serif font is using the sans serif font. That's because the designer did not have the full information as to what the brand is about. So as a business owner, it is on you to make sure that you sit down, understand your brand, understand what adjectives best suit your brand, then go ahead and give those adjectives and everything, give it to your designer, so that designer will make sure that, okay, whatever I am doing it with this adjective at the back of my mind. Okay. So we don't just do guesswork of okay, maybe this one will work, maybe that one will work, or this and that. It's not meant to be. So that is it. So let me share I created the PDF so that it will help us guide us through
Oh
what would
wow,
be
it's nice that
recommended?
you created because I was just about asking like now assuming I'm a business owner and I really want to know what
Yes.
this font psychology because we're all about learning here like we want
Yeah.
to know like so please do share with us let's see because
All
I
right.
might learn another thing too. I'm also a business owner.
Yeah.
So
All right. You can see my screen, right?
okay, yes, I can see your screen.
All right. Let me put it in full view so that it's not other thing won't.
Okay,
Okay.
fantastic.
So this is just like this is the header, font psychology with the brand of community.
Okay.
All right. So first of all, we need to first understand what fonts are. So a basic meaning of fonts is that they are collection of characters. As designers, we know that fonts are made up of shapes and all those likes. That's
Yeah.
for us designers. But for business owners, it's just to know that it's a collection of characters. All you see A, B, C, D, and everything. They are all characters. They are referred to as characters. So when you have them together, it's called a font. You have them together, like okay, A, B, C, D, is all called a font with similar design. This
Okay.
is where we now come into the different variants. When we say with similar design, we have multiple types of fonts. We have as we have under here now, where we have the serif font and everything. But
Yeah.
if they don't have the same design in one character field, then you can't call them a font in the same family.
Okay.
So unless they have the same design, that way you know that okay, yes, this font belongs to this family, this font belongs to that family. So then we look at there are 5 font classification. Although when you go in depth, you start to see there are some that are offshoots of the 5 that we have.
Okay.
Like you will see the one they call modern font. All those modern fonts are a type of sans serif font.
Oh.
They're just taken out based off of the emotion that they give. So you just
Okay.
classify them as moody, and the ones that they also call decorative, they are under display fonts. So
Okay.
the 5 basic types that we have is the serif, the slab serif, the sans serif fonts, the script, and the display. So now let's look at those fonts. So when we see them, we can easily recognize what they are.
Okay.
So this is a serif font. This one where we have the sage. What you can use to recognize them is the fact that they have extensions at their ends. So
Oh.
be it at the top or at the bottom, there's always an extension. So you can easily recognize that okay, this font is a serif font. Once you see it, you know that okay, with an extension on top or something, that is a serif font.
Oh.
Then the next one we have there is the slab serif. The slab serif is at one point was considered an offshoot of the serif, but
Okay.
over time it began to gain its own traction as a font classification on its own. Why? It looks like a serif font based on the fact that it has extension, but the difference is that with the slab serif, the extensions are much more bulkier, and
Oh.
that also comes into the psychology of using that font as well. The fact
Okay.
that it's bulkier, it also has its own meaning in that regard. Then we have the sans serif. This is basically just saying that no extensions, no extension whatever, be it bulky, be it thin stroked, there is no extension in a sans serif font.
So
Then
we
we
can
have
say so sorry. So we can say the sans serif is an opposite of the serif.
yes.
Okay.
So like the in sans, I think is French or so. It means none.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
like no serif. So we just know that it's just the opposite of it. That's the sans serif. Then we have the script fonts. Script fonts are like handwritten fonts. You can easily recognize them. Then we have this display fonts. Display fonts is quite interesting in the sense that any font that doesn't fit into this first 4, that is the serif, slab, sans serif, or script, any font that doesn't fit into it is a display font, no matter how it looks.
Oh.
As long as it doesn't fit into this classification, it's a display font. So
Oh.
that's how a display font is always recognized. So these are
Okay.
just to give us a view of the fonts, of the font type, so that when we see them, we can easily pick it out that, okay, this is this classification and that. So now we'll now go into the psychology of it to get to understand how these fonts give, or the kind of emotion these fonts elicit from us as human beings. But first of all, we need to first look at what font psychology is. As I mentioned earlier, with the way we have colors, and with the way colors have emotions and have the way they make us react as human beings, same thing applies to fonts. You get, there are different emotions, as we'll see when we keep on going, that fonts elicit from us. So the term font psychology, it just refers to how well we as designers, and even you as a business owner, how well you can understand those emotions and how well you can apply them in your designs or in whatever it is you want to do, so that they can elicit, they can bring out the right emotions, they can impact your audience the right way, they can make them have a good imagination or change their mood or whatever it is that requires them having a better understanding of you. This font psychology is a way for you to understand that and know how you can use each font at each time. So we can see from, I don't want to read off the whole definition, but it's something that we can actually see. Say it's understanding temperament behind various font classification and how you can align it. That's very important. Once you understand the temperament, each classification has an emotion that is attached to it. So with font psychology, what you're trying to do is to understand those emotions and see how best you can use it, or how best you can interpret it into your brand's personality. You get? And then we said, when fonts are used in any medium, they have a way of communicating with our brain subconsciously. And it now activates the brain ability to associate the font with a meaning. You get? You know, as human beings, over time, we see different things and all that. So we have the first one there, Serif Fonts. Serif Fonts are among the oldest type of fonts that we have in the font classification. It has been around for a very long time. So let's look at, generally, when you look at a serif font, the basic feeling that you get to have with it is a feeling of class and heritage. That's when we talk about luxury. When we talk about luxury, talk about brands that have been for a while, brands that have like old feeling to them or stuff like that. Those are kind of brands that make use of the serif fonts. And some other feeling that we have, as we have here, is reliability, respectable, reputable, distinguished, timeless, and authoritative. So let me now use these examples that I have in front of us here to explain what I just said.
Okay.
We know Vogue, Rolex, Gucci, they're kind of like in the fashion line.
Yeah, the luxury line. Okay.
The luxury line. Very good. Yes. So you now see that if you look at these three brands now, we know to associate them with luxury.
Yeah.
We also associate them with class. That once you see them, even the Mercedes, although the Mercedes has been popularized with just the icon these days, but when you look at those three brands, you know that these are brands that, yes, I know that anytime anybody sees this logo, they know that, yes, this person is putting on something that has to do with luxury.
Yeah.
And the font has been able to sell that emotion of class. So by once we see, if you can even take it as an experiment. Just look at anything that has serif font on it. First thought would be, this is a big brand. This is a brand that has class. That would be your first thought. That's because over time, our brain has been engineered to associate anything luxury with serif looking fonts. So once we see them, we know that, yes, this is luxury. Then we look at Time Magazine, Harvard Medical School, and the University of Oxford. They equally use the serif fonts, but they use it in another way. In terms of authority and the time space, or we call it heritage.
Okay.
The Times Magazine has been for a long time. You know, this their Times 100 and all these things.
Yeah.
Once you look at the brand, you know that this is a brand that has history. Same goes with Harvard and Oxford. There are institutions that have been for years. You get? So when you look at it, you can get to have that feeling of, okay, this brand is a brand that I know that once I associate myself with it, it's something that gives me class. That if I'm looking for something of worthy luxury, I'll get it with this brand because they are using this font type, and this font type brings about this type of feeling that, okay, yes, luxury and everything like that. You get? And if you look at some government facility, parastatals and all that, a lot of them also use the serif font. That's because of the feeling of that authority. That once you look at them, that okay, this parastatal is a place of authority and something like that. So that in itself would help you. Let's now bring it in terms of a business owner. If you are a business owner that is into making things of luxury, as I said earlier, this is your best bet. Or as a designer, if you want to design something that has an undertone of luxury to it or authority to it, this is your best bet. As it will help you to put out that emotion, help you put it out better, and people will be able to associate that adjective with the brand.
Okay.
So let's move on to the next one. The slab serif. As I said, it's a bulkier subset of the serif font because of its nature. Once you look at it, you will get to see it. We can look at Volvo and the likes. They have extensions, but compared to the way the extensions in these ones are, these ones, their extensions are bolder, and it's used by brands that want to show that yes, we are a very, very strong brand. Look at Volvo, look at Honda, and look at Ferrari. They are in the automotive industry, and the automotive industry are known for bringing out products that are strong, products that will last.
Wow.
So with that, you get to put it in the mind of your customer that yes, my brand will give you something that if you associate yourself with, you would be known as someone that is confident, someone that is strong. Same thing with Sony. You look at Sony as a whole. What are they not into? They are into entertainment. They are into the gaming industry. They are into the mobile industry. And all these things, they bring out products that people always want to go and get. At least we just had the craze of the PS5 recently.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
People know that the PS brand, they are strong brands. Their consoles are consoles that you can use for a long time. So these things, most people you might not really think about it, but subconsciously, your brain is making that connection. That once I look at this logo is a strong logo, this logo is a sturdy logo. Yeah. It will give you that emotion that yes, this brand is strong. Let me associate myself with the brand. And it's just that being bold, confident, and solid. One other thing is that the slab serif also borrows from the serif fonts in terms of luxury, authority, and the likes, but it just adds its own attributes of being bold and confident. And the next one. So the next one we'll go into is sans serif, which is very, 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 very popular. A lot of brands. I couldn't even fit enough examples here, because a lot of brands that we have today, they use the sans serif, and because of one simple thing, I've even mentioned itself, simple, the simplicity. The simplicity of that fonts classification is what makes a lot of brand to go for it. And it has this nature of making your brand look like a brand that is modern. You get, if you look at this first, this said it has an outlook of being clean, modern, and engaging. Those three things always make people want to try to understand, what is your brand about? Is it a brand that would fit me based on the way, just based on the way your identity looks alone? People will always want to know more about your brand. And then some other thing that we have, some other emotion that it gives off is being modern, being futuristic, being neutral, and being universal. If you look at all these brands now, the brands that we have as examples here, all these brands are everywhere. Even if you come to the ones we have with our Nigerian brands of GT Bank and Access Bank, we know Access Bank is in other countries.
Yeah.
So being universal in the sense whereby your brand can actually be anywhere and everybody would appreciate that brand based on the type of font that you decided to use. We look at Google. If you go back and look at the type of font Google was using, Google was using a serif type of font. But in rebranding, there was one thing that they picked out, and that was the fact that they wanted to look like a brand that is going into the future.
Oh, okay.
And with that, using a sans serif font has kicked that off. That's what we have here, futuristic. You look at the Nike logo. The Nike logo will always look modern, no matter when you look at it. But you know that the Nike logo has been for a long time.
Yeah, they've been around for a while.
For a while, yeah. Although they've gone through some changes as well, but since they began using a sans serif type font, they've stuck to it. Same goes for Adidas. Adidas has also been for a long time, but you always look at it as a modern brand because of the way the brand presents itself. And another one is this Citibank. A lot of designers know the story when you talk about Paula Scher, when she drew it on a hand. It has been this same type of this font typeface, but you will always look at the brand as a brand that just began in this decade, or how do we put it? That's because of the feeling or the emotion that the brand gives off. Then I mentioned that there are sometimes you see some classification as modern and all those stuff.
Yeah.
Those ones, that's where Facebook falls in. Sometimes Facebook will be classified as using a sans serif font. Other time they might classify them as using a modern font. But both still give the same attributes of being modern. Facebook has been for 10 plus years. But looking at the identity, it always looks fresh. That is what the sans serif font gives you. People will always look at your brand and say, this is a modern brand. This is a brand that is thinking into the future. Yeah, so all these things, all these classifications are things that are always associated with sans serif font. And we also look at Chanel. Chanel is also a luxury brand.
Yeah.
But it's able to bridge the gap of luxury, futuristic, and being modern.
Okay.
So is one we should is something that is worthy of note, that your brand might have attributes that fit into other font classification, but you need to look at what best describes it, and we'll get to see that when we get to how to apply font psychology in your designs.
Okay.
So the next one there is the script font. From looking at it, we know that the script font is one that is different. Let me just use that word, is different. And one thing that stands out is that every script font you see, or every script font you see when used in a identity design, is you see that brand looks fanciful in a way.
Okay.
So, and as I said, they are easily recognized as looking fanciful. Once you see, they look at Coca-Cola, you see that it's different. It's not like the one that you've seen, the serif. Okay, serif font looks straight, the slab serif,
yeah,
same thing.
Yeah.
But with the script font, there's an element of creativity to it. It kind of piques your interest in a different way from the way the other ones will pick your interest. And then when we look at it, we say they are creative, feminine, elegant, genuine, friendly, intriguing, and sophisticated. You get?
Okay.
You look at Coca-Cola, the Coca-Cola font. We know we associate Coca-Cola brand with a brand that when you take their product, it's quite like you feel happy. Maybe you were walking under the sun, you drink a bottle of Coke, you feel refreshed, and all those kind of things. But with their identity, they look friendly. They look like a brand that you always want to purchase from.
Yeah.
And they're able to tie that friendliness in everything they do, be it in their adverts or in their product package and all those things. That is a way of tying your font psychology with your brand.
Okay.
You know, as I said earlier, you need to actually look at what your brand stands for, what adjective best describes your brand. Then you use that adjective to do everything I want to do. Is it whether it's to select the font you want to use, or to select the color or the imagery and everything. You look at Instagram as well. Instagram, it's creative because they always find a way to come up with a new feature for their app, either to scatter our head or to confuse us. We knew where to upload something before, now it has gone to reel. So they're always creative. Yeah. So they're always creative with whatever they do. And all these things are tied into their the logo as well, the fonts they use.
Okay.
The same thing goes to Ford. If you are a car enthusiast, you get to see that as well. Ford always comes up with a different feature, a creative feature in their cars. Although I'm not really tied into cars like that, so I might not be able to give much say about that. Then we look at Kellogg's as well. We all know Kellogg's now. It's the cereal brand and the likes. Kellogg's is child friendly. From their packaging, whether it's the cartoons they use on their product package and all those stuff like that. Then when we say feminine, look at Barbie. Yeah, and we have a lot of all these makeup brands that also use the script type font.
Okay.
You get, they are able to bring in their audience, the feminine audience, through that. You see, so if you look at this, if you look at the Barbie, with the color they use and the font type, immediately you will know that okay, maybe they are into products that are geared towards the female audience target.
Yeah.
So all this the psychology of fonts helps in bridging that gap, making sure we are doing things the right way. Be it you want to create your logo or you want to create a flyer and the like. So the last one we have there is the display fonts.
Okay.
I'll talk about the display font. As I said, there are type of fonts that don't fit into the other, the serif, sans serif, script, and slab serif. one psychology about the display font is that once you look at them, you know that this font is unique. Unique in one sense is unlike any other. You get? And as I said, they don't fit into period calculation and they are looked upon for their unique nature. You look at Walt Disney, this Disney logo now. We might be get to call it script, but in a way it looks like script and looks like a sans serif font in a way. So you can't say you now classify both of them together.
Yeah.
That's why you now put it as a display font. And then let's now look at some of the attributes that is under display font. They look stylish. They look joyful. They are vibrant. When something is unique, there are some certain things that makes it unique. And with this, you can say the fact that it's quite vibrant, is quite quirky. Quirky in the sense whereby it's not, you might not easily recognize that, okay, what's saying? It makes you want to know more about what is this brand saying or what is this poster used. And let's look at Fanta, look at Tour de France, look at Lego. All these brands are brands that actually intrigue you. Because we see Fanta now. Most of us know Fanta as a sub-brand of Coca-Cola that are into orange juice.
Yeah.
But we'll now go to other parts of the world. You will see Fanta has a lot of other products. So it's quite intriguing to see that something that I can associate with an orange product, and that person was associated with another product. And the versatility of their fonts makes it able to match any product that they come up with.
Okay. Wow.
So, but with Coca-Cola, you know that Coca-Cola only produces something related to Coca-Cola, because although they have tons of other sub Coca-Cola brands, but it's just geared towards cola, be it Zero Coke, be it Light Coke or anything. It must be geared towards that. But the uniqueness of Fanta makes it that they can come up with any flavor and also call it Fanta. So all these things, as a business owner, you can also look towards that and see that, okay, I want to have a brand whereby I don't want to be looked upon as a bold brand or as a modern brand. I want to be seen as a brand that does things differently. You can then look towards the display fonts. Yeah. And it will also help your audience to be able to make that connection that, okay, this brand is different from every other person. They're not like these people that are using this font, not like these people that are using this font. It gives you that unique nature.
I see that I see an emotion here, unconventional. So it's safe to say, like, if I feel like the culture of my brand, I want to be unconventional in how I approach things. So display fonts should be what, because I'm looking at Tour de France, I'm looking at Walt Disney, I'm looking at Fanta, and I love what you just described about Fanta and all. I really I know Fanta has its own logo, but I've not really looked into like in making other variety of products and all. And it's quite interesting because I used to wonder, okay, why did Coca-Cola has its own, or why did Coke has its own logo? Why is Fanta having its own logo and all that? But it makes more sense. It makes more sense to me.
Because if you look at it, even though I think when I was making research into this, like to just understand more, and I looked, okay, I just went on Pinterest. I said, just put in Fanta. One good thing about Pinterest is that Pinterest gives you all the results. Once you put in Fanta, you will see a Fanta that looks blue, see one that looks purple, see one that looks green, and you'll be like, it's not the same Fanta that I know in Nigeria here that is orange. So how is this? So that is the unique nature of using display fonts. It gives you that ability to play around.
Wow.
Do anything you want to do. You see Disney now. Let's look at Disney. They're into cartoon production. They make movies. They have a theme park as a Disneyland.
Yeah.
All these things, it's an unconventional brand in that way. Let's look at Lego. We are now having Lego movies.
Yeah.
So you see, in that way, it helps you to make yourself, you are not limited to one particular aspect.
Okay.
You can filter around and people won't accuse you of doing too much.
Wow.
They will look at you that, yes, you are on brand. You are still sticking to what you set out to do.
Okay.
You're not, maybe you can't say someone like Facebook now. They now go into making movies. People will be like, where is the connection? We said the best way to determine what font works best for your brand is to fully understanding your brand.
Okay.
Because there is no way you can determine what's best for someone if you don't fully understand that person. You get? So same thing applies for your brand. In order to know what font, what color, what imagery, what shape, what pattern, anything, in order to know what works best, you need to first understand that brand. So how do you do that? The first thing there is having an in-depth look, an in-depth understanding of the company. Okay, you've said this is this company. This is why they started. This is what they are offering. This is how they're going to offer it. This is what it will do in the long run, how it will change people's life. Then you now look at those things that you've laid out and say, how best can I objectify these things? Like, what adjective qualifies all these things that I've laid out now? You can use maybe 2, you can use 3, but I think you shouldn't go beyond 4. Because going beyond 4, you're already making a list and you get to confuse yourself. So maybe 2, 3 is okay.
All right.
You already have those numbers. So then you go to the next one. You look at, okay, you said you are doing this product, you are into this industry, you're offering these services, you're offering it this way. This is what it will change. This is how it will change people's life and everything. Then you now look at who are the people that I want their lives to change with this product. That's the target audience. Then you look at them, how best can you describe the target audience? The same thing, you take 2, 3 adjectives, you lay it out, you put it aside. Then you now go ahead. As I said, as I said earlier, you can't be in an industry without having competition. So you look at your competition and say, okay, what are they doing? How are they doing it? In respect to what I want to be doing. Are they doing their own right? Or the way I'm doing my own, is it better than them? Then you now look for what adjective qualifies the unique factor that you have over your competition. You put that one aside as well. And the next thing you do is to take the 3 adjective groups that you've taken from knowing yourself, knowing your audience, and reviewing your competition. You take them and try to join it together and see that, okay, now all these things, these are the adjectives. So what adjective can link these 3 group of adjectives together? If you can find adjective that links them, maybe 1 or 2, or as I said, you don't go beyond 4. You find an adjective that links them together, then you now sit down and go back and look at, okay, now I have my own adjective. This is what they are. These are the fonts classification. What emotions do they give off? You now look at your adjective, look at the classifications. Which of these classification matches the adjectives that I have put down for my business? And once you've done that, you've created, like you've given yourself a very, very perfect font that will work with your brand based on the fact that you were able to determine your adjectives, that this is what describes your brand. Then you're able to match it with the font. And same thing also works for color and other listeners as well. So you look at what describes your brand, what stands your brand out, and you look at what font matches that. So with that, I think I was able to do justice to a font psychology.
Psychology. Okay, so now let me
Yes.
take it. So, as a business owner, let me know if I get this correctly or if I get you now. So, what you're saying now, I have a business, I have
Yeah.
a brand, and I'm just starting out. Now, the first thing I have to do is I have to understand myself. I have to understand the brand. Now, I have to pick out the things that describe me, the adjectives that describe me, whether I'm funny and like whatever it is. Then I
Yes.
have the second part is I have to understand the people I'm targeting, my
Yeah.
customers or potential customers, and also pick out how to describe them, the adjectives that describe them. Maybe they are females, they are working class females or whatever. Then the third option is to understand my competitors because, like you rightly said, every industry has that competition in every industry. Now, look at my competitors. Now, what differentiates me from them? I pick out the adjectives that best describes whatever differentiates me from my competitors. Then I bring all these three groups of adjectives, I bring them together, then find the adjectives that cut across the three.
Yes.
And once I find those adjectives, like you said, it shouldn't be more than four. Then I can pick out a font classification that best describes the adjectives, right? Wow. Okay, this is interesting. It's really
So you
interesting.
see that it actually helps you as a business owner. It narrows it down for you to the extent whereby you don't get to be having to think that okay, this option, that option, this option, that option. You've already made that decision yourself. It's just to interpret it that is left out.
Wow. Wow. This is really, really interesting. This is really, really interesting. And I must say I learned a lot. And like it's it's safe to say we now see the reason why anytime you see products that I will I say that focuses or targets the female market, you mostly see them using script fonts
Yes.
and now and like you said, most fonts now go online, go on Google or whatever platform. You see that most brands coming up, everyone wants to be recognized as a modern brand. So we see the sans serif. The sans serif is like a very popular brand of font or a very popular font or a family of font right now because every business wants to be identified as a modern or futuristic and now you talked about Mercedes Benz. We know Mercedes Benz to be class and luxury class, and because it's not
Like high
everybody
end,
that
like not everybody that
so
can drive
so yeah. So it's important for as a business owner. Like I know I'm a designer, but I like to put myself in the shoe of a business owner because I need to know all this information as a business owner so that even if yeah, it's not my job to do the designing and everything. I get a graphic designer or I get whatever, a brand developer, so that I know, okay, this is how it ought to be like. These are the basics I need to know. Or these are the things that will help me as a business owner better understand whatever the designer, maybe the brand identity designer, whatever they are doing, so that we can have a very good communication. Like you said when we started, communication is key when it comes to design, when it comes to business, communication is key. Like
at
in
all
fact,
points.
at all points, yeah, for every relationship, whether business, whether emotional relationship, communication is key. Because
Is
if
like
the designer doesn't understand me as a business owner, I'm not sure they can do
yeah,
or
there'll be like a disconnect. So designer will feel like maybe this person doesn't know what I'm doing.
yeah,
The customer, the business owner will be like, maybe this designer does not know what I'm looking for. So that's because there is that gap. Both of you don't understand yourself due
yeah,
to maybe one person is holding out the one information, or the other person is not asking for the right
you're
information.
right.
So you need to always bridge that gap and make sure that there's a smooth flow of connection between designer and business owner to enable every, I won't call it project. I can maybe let's say to enable a designer to solve the problem appropriately. Because if by the time we target projects, then we might look at it as a technical way. But when you look at it, that okay, for everything a designer does is to solve a problem. And if you have a business owner that has a problem that needs to be solved, you need to have a smooth flow communication whereby everything goes and everything, the problem is solved amicably without any glitches or anything.
Oh, yeah. Like this, yeah, I think you just said it all because fonts matter. Let me just use it this way. You know, the line they say
Yes,
Black Lives Matter, fonts matter.
yeah,
No color matter, fonts matter as well. Because if you're not communicating with the right font, people will as in they can just easily misunderstand what you stand for, and then and you just like you pointed out, it's just like when Facebook once goes into movies. You look at Facebook
be
movies.
like, how is it possible?
How is it possible? Yeah. So there will be a disconnect there. Wow. But therefore, thank you very much. Like this has been quite impactful. Like you've
The
unloaded a lot
pleasure is
from us.
ours.
You've unloaded a lot. I'm pretty sure I learned some things new, and I know every other business owner out there listening to this right now will also be learning because it's good as in we are championing for business owners to be hands-on. We don't want anybody leaving the work just for the designers or for the like, and you need to understand what's going on. It helps in your business branding. It helps in you knowing, yeah, it's your brand, it's your business. So you should know the time of just the designers or just the technical guys will know what it's all about has gone. Everybody should know. Wow. Now, this has been an impactful session and I really enjoyed myself. And I'm very, very
Thank
looking
you.
forward to our next session because I'm pretty sure we'll be inviting you back. Please don't get tired of us because we're going to be inviting
Yeah,
you
I'm looking
back.
forward to that. I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, thank you very much. So, guys,
Thank you.
now you've heard it all. Font psychology, font matters, and we'll be leaving the link to Jafar's portfolio, his Instagram page, and everything you need to know. And it's also about the Mastermind Academy. It's a wonderful place. You should visit. You should visit that place and check him out as well. Like you I believe you take as in people come to you for consulting and all like they should actually
Yes. Yeah,
so
like recently, I had someone come to meet me about their Instagram page. Said
okay,
said like, okay, you were running an offline business and just came onto Instagram. Do you know how to do it? Like the first thing I just told the person was, do you know yourself? Like once you know yourself and you know who you are servicing, although there are other things that you will still need to have to understand, but once you know yourself and you know who you are servicing, it's just like you've already covered 60% of the work. So
wow,
your own is just to go on and try to see how best you can align those things together. Okay, I know what I'm doing. I know who I'm servicing. How best can I serve them? How best can I do that? So all those kind of things are just the way. That's like the foundation of everything. That's why anytime, most time when people come and meet me, I always ask them that, okay, what do you know about yourself? That's the first thing. Like, yeah, and this is something that was imparted on me by our great mentor, Satola.
okay.
If you've gone through Satola, you always know this that it's something that he always mentions that you understanding yourself is the
Yeah,
first step. And once you can understand yourself, it's quite easy to move on to the next stage. And that's the problem a lot of maybe business owners and even designers too. They don't understand what they are doing. Then they won't be able to interpret how they can offer their services and the likes.
okay, so you've heard it all, guys. First, understand yourself. Like, I think it was a song. I think it was Rick Ross. Like, how can you love me? First, you have to love yourself. I didn't know how he worded it, but it's just about how you can't love if you don't love yourself first. So
You
you
don't
cannot
understand, yeah.
understand someone else, or you cannot understand another brand if you don't understand yourself first. So, guys, that is a wrap. And here at Brand Talk, we are a social learning group for entrepreneurs and we are noisy people, we make a lot of noise. I like to say that we make a lot of noise. And it's a home for entrepreneurs. Like if you want to know, if you want to be giving information, resources that helps you develop your brand, that helps your brand grow, we are the people or we are the place to be. So join our community on Facebook and make sure you hit the subscribe button on our YouTube and click that notification so you get notified whenever any of our contents come up. All right. So till next time, we'll be seeing you. Goodbye.
Thank you.